put you people being wrong to the side here for a second. And seriously, you don't have to announce if the series is over or not after every game. You don't have to proclaim whether your view of the series has changed after every crossover yak, which was actually a push-off, which was actually a flop. And you don't have to declare prima noctis on every three-pointer. Just tell me this. If what Houston did last night is sustainable, Mina Kimes, and their best path to victory.
It's definitely the right path for them. So what D'Antoni said about them sticking to their identity, at first I didn't believe it until we saw the stats. But the difference was, while they did run the same number of ISOs, while they had the same number of assist opportunities, it wasn't all Harden. They diversified. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Warriors look like the Rockets in Game 1, where they leaned too heavily on Durant and no one else contributed. It's the right strategy, but the problem is the Warriors aren't going to do that again. They're going to get contributions from Clay and the other players, and I think that's why I still think they'll be able to pull it out, even if the Rockets continue down this path.
Woody Page?
Well, I think if they are able to continue down this path, they would win the series. But as Mina said, I don't think they are going to be able to do it. With the extra day off between games, I think the Warriors are going to figure out a couple of different things, and one of them will be ISO plays. And what we're talking about, I saw a totally different game last night. I like Mike, but I think he's completely wrong. We had 84 points scored last night by people not named Harden or Paul. So give me a break here. It was ISO plays involving other people than 45 going to one guy, James Harden. He let Paul had ISO plays. Jordan, Tucker. They got into passing, and the passing lane's a lot more, and it wasn't a bunch of guys sitting around watching Harden.
Okay, all right. So you respectfully disagree with Mike D'Antoni, the coach of the team that just won the game against the Warriors to even the series. Israel Gutierrez, how about you?
By the way, Tony, I think it is almost literally your job to ask us those questions, which you just said we don't have to decide on every single game. So, just FYI. No, not only, as Mina mentioned, that there was more variety, what he mentioned as well, more variety in who was creating through those isolations, but they were doing that. They were creating, as Woody mentioned, they were passing off of those ISO plays, hitting open guys.
Right,
Here's the problem with that being sustainable, though, because a lot of that was from Eric Gordon creating. A lot of that was from P.J. Tucker having, the best playoff game he's ever had. He hasn't even scored 20-plus points in the regular season, and here he had that type of game. Is that sustainable when they go to Golden State? Will James Harden feel more responsible? Will Chris Paul feel more responsible and not allow others to do those things? I don't think that's necessarily the case, and I also think those Golden State role players are clearly going to play better at home as well. So I thought the Rockets were going to win a game or two, maybe even three in this series. They've got to win four. This game wasn't really surprising.
Kevin Blackistone.
Well, I gave you 3 reasons the other day why the Rockets very well could win this game. One of the reasons was Trevor Ariza. He had to stay on the floor and not get in foul trouble. That's exactly what happened. Another reason was they had to get turnovers. This team was very good at creating turnovers during the regular season. They did that yesterday, and that allowed them to get out and get some fast break points. And the other thing was they could not allow all of the big 3 of the Warriors to shoot 50% from the field and to shoot uncontested jumpers. They did not allow that yesterday, which is why people today are talking about, oh my goodness, Steph Curry, why couldn't he make the threes that he was making just the other day, or that we saw him make since he's come back from injury? Well, the defense around the perimeter was a whole lot better yesterday. Is this sustainable? Who knows if it's sustainable, but I do know that this was far more Rockets-like basketball than you saw in the very first
Israel, you
game.
want to add to that?
Yeah, and it wasn't very much Warriors-like basketball. Here's the thing about Kevin Durant. He's such a crutch that you go to him more often than you should, and you tend to go to him on the road in tough playoff games where your offense and your movement necessarily isn't working. So when they get back home, they will make Steph and Clay more viable threats the way they're used to and still have that deadly option in Kevin Durant.
But there was a time where you didn't need going home to make Steph a more viable threat, Israel. He's 2 for 13 from 3. In the first games, we're seeing him really play in about a month or so. And how Steve Kerr answered the question about his health last night?
His lingering injury, how much is it responsible for?
Some of his play tonight.
13.7%.
Does that have you wondering if the Warriors are worried about Steph's health is?
No, not necessarily. Look, I think what these first couple of games have shown you, if this is indeed the real NBA Finals, is that the Warriors can beat the Rockets without a completely healthy Steph Curry. He will play better at home, like I mentioned, I believe, and Kevin Durant is still this option. So I don't think that's the case, but I do wonder if, like I said, their offense, which relies so heavily on Steph creating and with that, all that movement and the passing, if, again, they rely on Kevin Durant too much because of that, will their offense be bogged down just enough to make the Rockets more of a viable contender in this season, in this postseason? I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't think he's really that hurt.
Kevin, can I ask you, what did you hear from Kerr with his answer there?
I heard that he doesn't want to talk about any injury to Steph Curry. That's what I heard. And you know what? Let's just say that Steph Curry is still recovering from his injury that kept him out for a number of games. So what? That's off the board right now. Everybody's playing. You saw last night CP got hurt a little bit. He's limping in the I think it was in the fourth quarter. He's continued to play through. So guys are going to be banged up now. They got to be hurt, but that's not an excuse. We didn't hear that in game one, did we? I don't think so.
No, and you're saying Kerr doesn't want to talk about it because he doesn't want to make an excuse, but then if he didn't want to make an excuse, he would have said 0. Or could have said 0. I mean, at times he didn't say 0. He said 13.7 or whatever he said. And how'd you read that?
Whenever he doesn't play well, we always ask if he's hurt. But the real issue is simply that he's not playing well. He finished with a plus-minus of -20. Worst performance from him in the entire season. And yes, they can win with Steph at 80%, as Izzy said. KD can come through. That's why they have him. But they look like a different team. And they go from being the unstoppable Warriors to simply a very good NBA team.
Mm-hmm. Woody Page?
Well, I think Kerr was obviously trying to distract the press corps there by using that number, trying to make a joke rather than responding seriously. But in regard to Curry, here's what's going on, is I think that he's not fully back from the problems that he had. Plus, he's having so much defensive pressure put on him. In the first 2 games, he's had 43 ISO problems against him. That's more than he's ever faced in the playoffs over a 2-game period. And so as a result of that, that's wearing him down. I think offensively, you see what the Rockets, at least I saw it last night, the Rockets are staying on him. They're not double-teaming Kevin Durant. They're following Curry wherever he goes with whoever's in that area, playing that zone defense. So I think those two sides of it are creating serious problems for him that he's got to overcome.
That was certainly the right strategy, at least for last night for the Rockets. Gutierrez after the horn.
To be fair, Mina, we ask those questions about Steph usually after he comes back from an injury, and we're wondering if he's still okay. And the Rockets are really trying to wear him out on defense, isolating him as much as possible, which is going to affect him on offense. But really what's affecting him on offense the most is just that they're not running their stuff. Yeah. They're really going to that mismatch
it seems
with KD
like
more often.
When Curry has a bad game, it's like, oh, is he healthy? We don't know if he's healthy. He had a bad game. Yeah. When LeBron has a bad game, it's like, oh, he doesn't have enough help. When Harden has a bad game, oh, he just pounds the rock too much. And Woody Page, you said something in your answer which I thought was interesting because Kerr made a joke to distract from his answer. Every time you make a joke in the show, are you distracting from your answer, trying to get us not to think about what you're saying?
I try everything I possibly can.
We've been Horn, we'll move on. NBA story that is not the Cavs Celtics because they're off today and they're off tomorrow after being off yesterday. It's the Bucks picking Mike Budenholzer. And Mike Budenholzer picking the Bucks over the Raptors, which is also in play for him. Woody, those the right calls?
Yeah, let's be completely serious here. No distractions whatsoever. I think for 3 or 4 different reasons, he did the right thing, they did the right thing. They actually got him together with 2 of the players. One of those players, their best, had questioned the organization when they got rid of Jason Kidd. So they're saying, now you're part of this process, and so he can't really be in a situation to discount it. Number 2, they're building a new arena. That's going to be open. They had to get somebody that was a professional, proven coach. And when you say, wow, they were awful this past year, they gave away everybody they had on that squad. He got them to the Western Conference Finals one year, was coach of the year, got them into the playoffs 4 out of 5 years, and he doesn't want to take that Toronto job. You don't want to go in there and not be a number 1 seed, and people say they got rid of Casey for you. So I think it works for both the Bucks. It works for him.
Yeah, if Budenholzer would have got the Hawks to the Western Conference Finals, he really would have been doing something.
Eastern Conference.
Of course. Israel, how about you?
Yeah, I like it from both sides. I like Budenholzer's decision strictly because Giannis is a higher ceiling than DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, anybody that's on that Raptors roster. So you take the superstar and assume he's going to take you further. I also just like it from the Bucks' perspective, which we saw what happened, as Woody mentioned with Jason Kidd. They brought in Chris Middleton and Giannis to discuss this and take part in this hire. So whether or not Mike is the right guy, Budenholzer is the right guy, their two best players are going to feel like it's partially their responsibility as well to help him succeed. So I think it's a good move. And, you know, if they can surround him with some shooting, get him used to playing the 5 a lot in that Budenholzer small ball, I think it's going to work out really well.
KB?
I don't know about this. I mean, you look at the Raptors and the fact that they've improved just about every year since Dwayne Casey was there, with the exception of one where I think they still fell off to maybe like 50 wins, get the number 1 seed, and the only thing they can't get by is LeBron James. And then you look at Budenholzer and you remember that he sat next to Popovich for many, many years, and he had that one outstanding, crazy year down in Atlanta. I understand maybe his attraction to wanting to have the superstar in his back pocket. But you know what? If you're a player, I think wouldn't you rather go to the team that is that close to winning it all in the East and moving forward? That's what I would think. In fact, if I'm Milwaukee, I'm thinking about Dwayne Casey too. I mean, this guy just won Coach of the Year this year.
Mina Kimes, I sense a slight shake of your head there. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go to Toronto for the reasons KB just described, which is they have improved, but they've hit a ceiling. There's not a lot of flexibility with that roster. They've already finished with a great record. They're probably not going to improve upon that. And obviously there's the LeBron issue as well as the Celtics and the Sixers. It's not a great situation because there's not a lot of room for growth. Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, you do have Giannis. All you need to do is build a system around him. It's a great opportunity for Budenholzer. I can totally see why he took that job.
Who do you have last year?
KB, Dwayne Casey just won Coach of the Year in large part because he changed that offense to more ball movement centered, more something like Mike Budenholzer does. There's a ceiling there. He's hit it twice. And so there's no room for improvement there, and I think Budenholzer saw that.
Well, whoever gets to coach Toronto going forward. Pre-game had a nice night slicing a Jet. Whew. During game had the Knights slicing Jets. Dustin Buffett, check this out, pulling off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 humans. Marc-Andre Fleury, single-double save. 2 straight wins now for Vegas. Game 3 takeaway, Mina?
Still trying to regain my standing with the people of Winnipeg, Tony, but I got to say, Vegas really came out strong with this one, and my big takeaway was that Marc-Andre Fleury is incredible. They actually got outplayed in the final period. Jets had 8 high-danger chances versus 1 for Vegas, but he was the difference in this game, and I think he's going to be the difference going forward for them.
Woody Page?
What I expected from happened last night, the Knights, Viva Las Vegas. I mean, the entertainment before the hockey match and then the entertainment during that game and the way they came out and the way they finished at the end. I hope the Knights continue to be the Knights.
Israel Gutierrez?
Well, the Knights were opportunistic. They took advantage of some Winnipeg Jets mistakes, and I don't know how sustainable that is, but you're talking about a team that's 5-1 at home here. They seem to sort of gain the momentum and work through it, and I think, 2 wins in a row, they probably have a better grasp of it.
Well, Fleury was the difference, as Mina pointed out. I mean, that save that he made diving back across the goal mouth was incredible. And Marchessault continues to shine in this particular series. And how about the way he arrived at the game? Did you all see that? Getting out of that really cool car, looking sharp in that suit. Oh, man, that guy's got style.
Israel, you mentioned 5-1 in the last 6 home games. That is not what the rest of the league is, these playoffs in the NHL. Home teams have a losing record, 34-39. That's what the Caps are going up against tonight and what the Lightning are banking on. Can't have a pivotal Game 5 without a pivotal Game 4. Advantage who tonight, Woody?
Well, the advantage is to the team that has the most urgency, Tony. You realize that. And that would be the Caps. They've got to calm down D.C. D.C. is such in a panic now. And they're so successful on the road. This is where, if they're going to win the Stanley Cup, they need to step up at home unlike they have throughout the playoffs.
So you've got the Caps being the more urgent team, even though they're up in the series 2-1. How about you, Israel?
Come on, can we give the Caps a break here? They were at 2-2 against the Penguins and ended up winning that series, right? Even if they fall to 2-2 in this one, they're the team with the lead here. They seem to have already exercised those demons from the past. And look at those road numbers. As Tony mentioned, this is not unusual. The Caps are okay.
Kevin Blackstone?
I think the urgency would have to be with the team that has the chance to fall behind 3-1, and you know that is a coffin you do not want to be in. As far as the Caps are concerned, I know people around the country are looking at it and saying it's shaky, but they've won on the road in both of their last 2 series, dominated on the road, in fact, and actually statistically dominating this series. They just need to clean up the PowerPoint play.
Yeah, I think for the reason you described, obviously this is a must-win for Tampa Bay, but it's not a cakewalk for Washington to go back home, in particular because the Lightning have been so good on the road. They're 4-1 this postseason. I would have a lot of confidence in their ability to go to Washington and get a win. So both teams, it's a very important game, I'd say.
The pivotal game 4 before a pivotal game 5. We'll move on. Buy or sell 3. The changes the ACC recommends the NCAA looking to for college basketball. You guys can see them on the screen right here. 72 teams in the tournament. Move back the three-point line. Shot clock resetting to 20 on offense after a rebound. Start with around the horn, 7 seconds or less. The tournament expanding to 72 teams, Real.
I'm not a fan of it. There's so much more alphabetizing that has to go on as a result. It's really confusing. I am a big fan of the three-point line and everything else that they're suggesting.
Kevin Blackstone?
Completely against it, because when you look at what you just put up there, what they're doing is professionalizing college sports even more, making it more like the NBA game. But what they're going to do is expand, make more cheddar, and still not share it with the laborers in this game. So I'm totally against it until they fix that.
72 games for the tournament?
I don't think it does anything other than probably puts more money in their coffers. Make the change we need. 4 quarters. That's the change everybody wants, and they didn't propose that one.
Page.
No. 16-and-a-half-year viewers of this program know that I've been begging during that time to expand it to every team in the NCAA. Let everybody in the tournament.
You had this first, Woody.
Sports betting around the country. Now you can bet even
the idea to expand.
So March Madness.
Right. It's not really the ACC teams that we don't need more ACC teams.
Really?
Serious. So expanding, you guys, Woody was for. Everybody else thought it was just about money. That's fine. The three-point line. With the preponderance of threes in the NCAA game. Get that further out to 23 feet.
Better spacing,
feet.
Absolutely.
All right. And how about the shot clock? Resetting that to 20. Not to the big clock, 35, but to 20 on the offensive rebound. That would pick up the pace of the game.
Speed up the game, more scores. I like that, too.
Yeah. I don't like times. Woody Page, Warren Tolles for the Israel Gutierrez, Kevin Blackstone.
Brought to you by Mike's Hard Lemonade. Drink on the bright side. Please enjoy responsibly.
Gutierrez, Blackstone, good luck in the showdown. Showdown 1, Miguel Cabrera saying he's done playing hurt. Quote, done playing hurt, end quote. Because they don't appreciate that. Quote, they don't appreciate that. Quote, Israel, playing hurt. Appreciate or don't appreciate?
Well, I appreciate his stance, and if I'm the Tigers, I'm thinking the same because he's in year 3 of a $248 million contract, and he's trying to play through injuries like a back injury from last year. You better keep him healthy.
You know that back injury last year he batted 249 with 16 home runs. That's not what you expect out of Miguel Cabrera. So you know what? The Tigers ought to listen to their superstar and go ahead with him and say, you know what, don't play until you're really ready.
I could see you both getting a point there, though. He's got about, 5 years, $170 million remaining? Showdown 2, Brandon Belt unhappy with home plate umpire Doug Eddings' strike calls to end the game, saying Eddings just wanted to get the game over with. Does Belt have beef, Kevin? And do umps just want to get games over with?
Well, he may have beef with those particular strike calls there. You know, we got the box so we can all see it now, but I can't imagine that he has a real beef with the umpire wanting to get away early or something like that. They're paid to do this.
Listen, if he wants to shorten that game, I applaud him, and those pitches were not that bad. He does not have a lot to complain about.
Shortening this game. We'll move on. Showdown 2. We'll make it Showdown 3. Belly ball. Israel, you're a writer for the point in game. What's the lead sentence you're writing for Bartolo Colon taking the comebacker off his belly?
We all knew Bartolo Colon had the guts, and now he proved it by catching one in the breadbasket.
Ball hits man with big bone body. He's not fat.
That's the headline. That's not your lead sentence, Kevin. Israel Gutierrez. Take your pick.
If you don't know who Luka Doncic is, he's a Slovenian-born basketball player who might very well be the #1 pick in this year's NBA draft. However, he recently said he's not sure this is going to be his last time with Real Madrid, and he might not come to the NBA, which is confusing because that #1 pick, the Phoenix Suns, they do have his national team coach as their new head coach. Everybody's looking at this as a sign that he doesn't want to go to Sacramento. But why not just go to Sacramento? Even if you spend the first 7 years of your career there, you'll be 26 when you're done, in the prime of your career, super rich, and ready to go to any team you want. I think you can really shine in a city like that. Please come to the NBA. We need you.
Did you say that you don't know who Luka Doncic is, Israel Gutierrez? Are you suggesting people didn't read Mina Kimes' outstanding article online for the magazine on Luka